Baseball on Root Sports is presented by Toyota. Let's go places. By Jack in the Box. Taste the all-new Jack's Brewhouse Bacon Burger today at Jack in the Box for a limited time only at participating restaurants. And by Southwest Airlines. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. Coming up, Dallas Keuchel had the stuff of legends in a rousing win over the Rangers last night. Can Doug Fister pull off another throwback performance? The game is next. Plate umpire. What is this all about?
The greatest rivalries are born from excellence and bred through familiarity.
Well, now we do seem to have a rivalry. Yes, for the silver.
An immovable object, an irresistible force, driven by the same goals, fueled by the competitive fire that burns brightest, facing one another. The Astros and Rangers are two of a kind, united under the Texas flag, divided in every other way imaginable.
You don't disrespect the game of baseball.
They fight for a division title.
I don't really know that Odor guy much, but he doesn't need to act like that.
And the pride that comes from beating your biggest rival. The I-45 battle has turned sharply northward, with the Rangers dominating the Astros, dialing up the intensity and catching all the breaks on their way to the top of the division. But objects in the rearview mirror are closer than they appear, as the Astros have stormed their way back from the brink.
Goodness, they win it!
As they chase the AL West title and their toughest opponent. Tonight, the greatest rivalry in Texas reaches the boiling point. Two teams fighting for the highest stakes imaginable. In a matchup that's more than just a game. The Lone Star Showdown hits critical mass right now.
We welcome you into Minute Maid Park. It should be a good one. Full house here at the ballpark and all wanting to see the Astros beat the Rangers and take the series from them for the first time this season. Doug Fister on the mound, who's fared well against these Texas Rangers, fresh off the paternity list, and he's ready to get after it. He's done a lot of work on those off days, so he could be ready to go. But as you look back at the couple of starts he's had against Texas, it's our Kubota pitching performance. He's 1-1, 12 innings pitched. Check out the ERA, 2.25. He's done well against them. 6 strikeouts. Curveball usage for him will be very important tonight against this lineup. It's something he actually used in that last start against Toronto and had a lot of success there, coming off a great start against the Blue Jays. And guys, I toss it up to you for more, but Doug Fister, I'm sure he's ready to get back and help his team beat the Rangers.
And he has done that. He had the only win against the Rangers by an Astros pitcher before last night. Of the first 10 games, here's the lineup. DH Sin-Chu Chu leading it off. Ian Desmond, the center fielder. Carlos Beltran in right field. Adrian Beltre at third. Rougned Odor at second. Jonathan Lucroy, the catcher. Mitch Moreland at first. Nomar Mazara in left. Elvis Andrus, the shortstop. The pitcher will be former Astro Lucas Harrell. And it's Chu. Going for the first pitch. Slicing fly ball, left field corner. That one's into the corner. Preston Tucker plays it into second base. He will hold him to a long single. Thought that might be a double for Chu, but he settles for one base.
And we take a look now at our MD Anderson strike zone. Take a look at that first pitch from Doug Fister. Pretty good sinking running action, well off the outside corner at the knees. And yet Sin-Chu Chu, who so often takes a lot of pitches, jumps on the first heater and comes up with a mere single on a ball that one hops the wall in left field.
Yeah.
Nice job by Preston Tucker.
It was. He now has a 12-game hitting streak at Minute Maid Park. Ian Desmond is the batter. Desmond takes, and there's strike one for Fister. Desmond at 294 has 20 home runs, 65 runs batted in, but he's gone 1 for his last 20. In his last 13 games, he's 6 for 52. That's 115. Foul ball off Jason Castro. That makes it 0-2. Rangers are 9-2 against the Astros. Doug Fister is 10-7 with a 3.56 ERA. He has been very consistent this season. He lost a 2-1 game at Texas April 20th. He won a 3-1 game at Texas June 8th. Chu drawing a throw there. Chu has 4 steals in 7 tries. Desmond really has been helpful to the Texas cause, even though lately he has struggled with the bat. With those 20 homers, 65 runs batted in, and some good solid play in center field. That one goes to George Springer on the ground, and it's back-to-back singles. Desmond just poked it through the right side, and Carlos Beltran comes up with 2 on and nobody out.
Little bit of a clinic from the Rangers here early, going the other way. Tough slider down and away for this base hit. And this is the way Desmond has performed much of the season. As a pitcher, really nothing you can do to change that.
Carlos Beltran, the former Astro, last night had 1 hit in 4 at-bats. That was a double in the first inning. He takes, and there's strike one. Alan Porter's the home plate umpire. 23 homers, 66 runs batted in. 415 career home runs for Carlos Beltran. It's 1-1 with Adrian Beltre on deck. In the postseason, Carlos Beltran has a career .332 batting average. .674 slugging percentage in the postseason. In the air, and the left fielder Tucker comes in shallow for out number 1. Both teams wearing the 1986 uniforms. Fister has 14 quality starts, allowing 3 runs or less in 17 of 21 this season. Second best on that walk per 9 inning average for his career.
Ran off 7 consecutive wins earlier in the season.
Adrian Beltre was on twice last night with a hit and a walk. Breaking pitch, strike 1 to Beltre. The Rangers were held to 3 hits in last night's game. They got 2 in the first inning, but then Keuchel got tough, and then they didn't pick up another hit until the 9th. Curveball, and Beltre lets it go. 1-1. That was only the second game of pitcher has pitched a complete game against the Rangers this year. Giordano Ventura of Kansas City did it. July 20th. Ranger bats have been pretty hard to stop. Their 5th in runs scored. That catches the edge, and it's 1-2.
You see that late running action that Doug Fister uses so well. Runs that fastball right back to the edge, gets a piece.
Last time out, 6 shutout innings on Monday against Toronto for Fister in a no decision. That's whipped to left field. Here's Tucker coming over and back now, and right there in front of the big wall. He adjusted a little bit and stayed there for out number 2. He took one step in there that made it look like he had misjudged it, but made the catch.
That running action from Fister gets in on the hands at times, and he tries to come in well off the edge. Beltre just unable to get the barrel to it enough.
Rougned Odor is next. He was 0 for 4 last night. He's a real protagonist in this Astros Rangers series. Ball 1.
Sure, Toronto Blue Jays fans are big fans of his as well.
276, 21 homers, 55 runs batted in. 282 lifetime against Houston with 8 home runs for Odor. And he's had some bat flips along the way. And he had the slugging incident in that Toronto game you mentioned with Jose Bautista. 1 ball, 1 strike. A feisty player.
He's got those mannerisms that stir a lot of people up, but I'll bet he's also that kind of guy that you love having as a teammate.
Up the middle, there's Correa stepping on the bag. Well, just like last night, the Rangers look good early. They have 2 men on, and then the next 3 are retired. Nothing. Let's look back to what happened last night. It's the starting lineup brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Evan Gattis had 3 hits, and the Astros won the game 5-0 with Gattis doing the catching for the 3rd straight night. He continues to hit well behind the dish. 299, 11 homers, 23 runs batted in, an OPS of 1,025 as the catcher. Will he be in the lineup again tonight? Yes, but it's the DH this time. It's George Springer in right field, Alex Bregman at 3rd, Jose Altuve at 2nd, Carlos Correa the shortstop, Gattis the DH, Tucker in left field, and we're underway with George Springer fouling it, strike 1. George with 22 homers, 60 runs batted in, has a .256 average. He went 1 for 4 last night. Career highs for George in homers and runs batted in, and also he has scored 75 times. That's 7th in the American League. Familiar figure on the mound, Lucas Harrell. Ash.
Opening day pitcher for the Astros in 2013. Went 6-17 that year, allowed 174 hits in 153 innings, but pitching much better these days now, pitching with Atlanta and now on to the Texas Rangers.
Last time out, Harrell beat Kansas City, giving up 3 runs in 6 innings. He gets a strike there, and it's 2-2. 2013, of course, was a rough year for the Houston Astros, and Lucas Harrell could describe it that same way for himself, going 6-17 with a 5.86 ERA for this club that year. But he was 11-11 in 2012. 3 balls, 2 strikes. He's certainly been around the horn. He went to Korea and pitched last year, all season long in Korea.
Yeah, that 2015 shows up as a blank for Major League pitching. But you got to hand it to a guy who keeps battling, persevering, finds his way back to the big leagues.
Born in Springfield, Missouri. Springer's down on strikes.
Still 93 miles an hour on that heater up on George. And the overall numbers, those are combined between the Braves and now the Texas Rangers, 2-2 with Atlanta this year. And rather surprising numbers. The hits are way down, 34 allowed in 40 in the 3rd innings. Left-hand hitters having a tough time on that sinker and changeup.
Alex Bregman has 2 hits and 38 at bats to open his big league career. Takes ball 1. Harrell is 9-14 at Minute Maid Park in his career with a 4.12 ERA here. Foul back, and it's 1-1. He works very quickly. 4th round pick of the White Sox in 04. He was a waiver claim by the Astros in June of 2011. 31 years old. That's ripped left center field. Extra bases. Bregman's first extra base hit as a major leaguer, and it's a double.
Yeah, you hope that opens up the floodgates for Alex Bregman. It's a good swing on that kind of pitch that really did in Lucas Harrell as a member of the Astros. He throws the sinker a lot, but when he leaves it there, not going to get any sinking action, and the barrel is easy to drop on it.
Well, with the Legends uniforms on from '86, did he remind you of anybody from that club? Phil Garner?
Yeah.
Or anybody like that?
A little bit of that Phil Garner size. Gar might have been a little sturdier, a little stockier, but that is likely to follow for Alex Bregman.
See if Jose Altuve can look like Billy Doran. That's in for strike 1. 357 to lead the majors in batting average. 19 homers, 66 runs batted in. 201 consecutive games played for Altuve. If he looks like Jose Altuve, he'll be just fine. He rips this one, but it's foul.
Yeah, I was just about to say, Jose Altuve reminds me of nobody from back in those Legends days, as you call it. But, you know, he works out just fine right now. And the same thing for Alex Bregman. That stroke we just saw, that'll play very well in 2016 and beyond.
Altuve last night had a pair of doubles and a walk. He drove in a couple of runs. He's at 66 runs batted in, and that's a new career high for him. Ties his career high. 1-2. Altuve just continues to accumulate hits and keep the sign people working in the stands to get him ever closer to 1,000 for his career. Has 983 career hits now. This one tapped to third. Here's Beltre throwing him out. Bregman to third, 2 down. Carlos Correa will be next. Correa had a 2-run single last night, going 1 for 3 with a walk. He now has a career high in runs batted in with 70. 15 homers and a .266 average. He had 68 runs batted in last season. Driven in 37 runs in his last 38 games. That ranks third in the American League. In for ball 1. He now ties Dennis Menke. This is his 44th game hitting cleanup. That's how many times Menke hit cleanup as an Astro shortstop. 2-0. Harrell is facing the Astros for the first time in his career.
You know, Dennis Mencken, though not as tall as Carlos Correa, that big-bodied kind of guy, that you know, it would really have to be an athlete to play shortstop with that size.
2-1. The Astros have lost 8 of their last 11. Both these teams have identical records since the All-Star break of 9 and 11. Off the plate, and it's 3-1 for Harrell. And the Astros trail the Rangers by 5.5 games in the AL West. They also trail by 5.5 right now in the wild card. That's ball 4. Correa takes his 57th walk of the year and passes the torch along to Gaddis.
Just that spot in the order for the Astros that really has to stand up and get the job done. Carlos Correa, not many people want to face him with men in scoring position. You got to start having that guy behind that can force pitchers to come into the strike zone on Carlos Correa.
Gaddis with the 3 hits last night. Has done that recently a couple of times. That was his second 3-hit game in his last 6. Good stop there by the catcher Lucroy, catching his 4th game as a Ranger after the big trade brought him from Milwaukee along with reliever Jeremy Jeffers. Now Lucroy could have quite an impact on this Ranger club. Gaddis with 43 runs batted in, has 17 homers.
Lucroy, to me, an extremely valuable puzzle piece that was out there at the trade deadline.
2-0. Harrell falling behind Correa 3-1, and now Gaddis 2-0. And he worked a 3-2 count on Springer before he struck him out. 20 pitches in the first inning so far for Lucas. Make it 3 balls, no strikes with Preston Tucker on deck. Rangers pitching staff has only the 12th best ERA in the American League, 4.36. Doug Brocail is the pitching coach. Jeff Bannister, who grew up in this area, the skipper closest to the camera there. Tony Beasley, one of the coaches. Ball 4 loads the sacks, and it's Tucker now. Lucas sometimes can be keyed very high for a start, and maybe against his old club. There are some extra emotions bubbling right now. He faces Tucker, who has 4 homers and 7 runs batted in.
Harrell's velocity is just fine. In fact, it's better than I anticipated coming in here. But a guy who's a sinker slider type guy, being overamped, usually it doesn't work for that type of pitcher.
That's an excellent point. Sometimes that pitch lacks movement in that situation. Ball 1 to Tucker. Not a bad idea to take a pitch the way Harrell has walked Correa and Gaddis.
Well, Harrell and Lucroy try to turn it around, throw the breaking ball to start it, and they failed to get a call.
Tucker's over his last 19. Just off the plate. 2-0 now.
Great hitters count, bases loaded. Doug Brocail knows all of that, and he's going to come out and try to turn things around here.
Well, last night Martin Perez gave up 4 in the 3rd inning, but he really helped the Rangers by going 7 innings in that game. Came in a trade with the Atlanta Braves for a Texas prospect, Travis Demeritte. He and lefty Dario Alvarez in that deal. He's thrown 8 balls in a row. A.J. Reed's on deck. Make it 9. The Astros have a team batting average of .208 against Ranger pitching for the first 11 games, scoring 33 runs in those 11. Ball 4 forces in a run. 1-0 Houston on the 3rd consecutive walk. That's 10 balls in a row, and the run is scored by Bregman.
And there have been some close pitches, but you don't tend to get the close pitches when you're missing time and time again. Welcome to the big leagues with that first extra base hit. Now our Lexus defensive ratings, as we can glance around at the outfield for the Texas Rangers. With the runners on base, you've got Nomar Mazara in right field. Throws pretty well, kind of in that yellow range. Good outfielder. Ian Desmond, the same thing in center. And Carlos Beltran. Just the age is taking it away a bit on Carlos. An outfield you can choose to run on.
Strike to A.J. Reed. A 135 hitter with 2 homers, 4 runs batted in. He is 0 for his last 8. Breaking pitch bounces, and it's 1-1. A.J. Reed said tonight before the game he'd like to pitch someday in a major league game. He was a pitcher at Kentucky as well as an outstanding hitter. 2nd-round draft choice of the Astros.
I can understand the sentiment while you're trying to make it as a power-hitting first baseman. Keep working on that stroke.
That's a strike, and it makes it 1-2. Led the minors with 34 homers and 122 runs batted in last season between Lancaster and Corpus Christi. Curve again, and it's 2-2. Game 2 of a 3-game series, and the Astros are 2-3 on this homestand. They'll wrap it up tomorrow at 1:10. Joe Musgrove against Yu Darvish. Struck him out, and the Astros settle for 1 run on 1 hit, leaving 3. They lead 1-0.
Lead it. Celebrate your birthday the Astros way by throwing a birthday party while cheering on the Astros at Minute Maid Park. For more info, visit Astros.com or call 713-259-8996. The Astros coming off of a win against the Rangers last night behind Dallas Keuchel's complete game shutout. And AJ was asked about last night's win. Any more significance when you're chasing a team like the Rangers? And he said, you know, we need as many wins as we can get right now, but I am very pleased with the style of play we saw. Good defense. Of course, the pitching was great, but timely hits was so huge for this team who had struggled before that. And guys, also that complete game shutout, it's a morale booster really for this team, and especially when you're not playing well, to have a starting pitcher put the team on your back. That's what this team expects from Dallas Keuchel, and that's exactly what he did.
There's strike one to Jonathan Lucroy, leading it off in the second inning. 1-0 Astros. Lucroy at .296, 14 homers, 52 runs batted in. Quite a trade pulled off by the Rangers with the Brewers, involving Lucroy and the reliever Jeremy Jeffress, who goes into the late inning picture, but he's not the closer. 1 ball, 1 strike. Nonetheless, Lucroy, in addition to his offensive credentials, is a fine defensive catcher. He'd started 3 games in Baltimore, got a night off last night. First baseman Reed, 1 out for Pfister. Mitch Moreland will follow. Moreland has hit .300 against Houston pitching this season, doing some platooning at first base. Ryan Rua started against the lefty Keuchel last night. .249 for Moreland, 18 homers. He's driven in 46. Has a .171 average at Minute Maid Park. Pfister deals, and it's strike one. Pfister and his wife became parents this week. He took the paternity leave. First child. Curveball in for a strike. 0-2.
Running fastball and curveball both deemed to catch the inside corner, and deemed correctly.
Next up in the parenthood department will be Ken Giles and his wife. That could be happening, the Stork tells us, within about a week or so.
Those are the best of call-ups.
Aren't they though? 1 and 2. And the Michael Feliz family is going to be growing also fairly soon, a few weeks down the road, we're told. In the air, and the center fielder Marisnik measures it. 2 outs. Nomar Mazara will follow. Good looking young player, and from a lot of the stories that have been written and what we're hearing, he was a trade target. The Rangers and Astros seem to be trying to lure the same top caliber starting pitchers away from teams like Chris Sale, Jose Quintana, Chris Archer. Mazara, 283, 13 homers, 43 runs batted in. Could not be lured from the Rangers. He's on a 5-game hitting streak. They love this guy. He's looked good to us, Ash.
What not to like? 21 years of age, and he got off to a great start in the major leagues and having a fine season. Yeah, this guy figures to be in that outfield for Texas for a long time.
In for a strike, and it's 1-1.
Until there's that tantalizing player you can't live without, and the other team's going to want a player like this.
He's just 21. 2 balls and a strike. Mazara, who comes from the Dominican Republic, made an immediate splash, getting a lot of playing time when Chu was out with an injury earlier this season. Curveball and a beauty, makes it 2-2.
Doug's had a good one, and he's to this point had it working on that same side of the plate pretty consistently.
That's in the air, and here's a long run for Bregman into foul ground. Can't get there, but with the shift on, he had no chance. You just have to imagine a young guy like Bregman is thrilled to be wearing this uniform. Not only a major league uniform, but this particular one. That's just.
Well, he may have worn this uniform somewhere along the line playing, I don't want to say softball or anything, but some of the youth teams that he's played on.
Right. It's colorful. Now, did you guys get a lot of ribbing when you wore these uniforms?
At times, but you know what? It was a uniform, at least the concept, that caught on just about everywhere. You saw leagues utilizing that uniform, different color schemes. But we could wear that in a white version on the road and it would still stand out.
Liner to left, that's in for a hit. And again, that opposite field hitting approach works for a Ranger. We saw that from the first two batters, as you pointed out, Ash.
I had mentioned that curveball from Doug Fister had been working to that inside edge on the left-hand hitters, this time down and away. And that shows you what Nomar Mazara can do. Very tough pitch.
Now we might see more of that. Now the number 9 hitter, Elvis Andrus. Fister 5-5 with a 4.88 ERA lifetime against the Rangers. Gets a broken bat pop foul. That's strike one. Andrus with a 2.89 average has 4 homers, 46 runs batted in. Ralph Hackamack, who's living in Houston, tells us his son Michael is here tonight. Michael's cousin. They live in the Fort Worth area and decided to make the trip. Good numbers for Andrus. We do see a lot of Ranger fans here. And it may have something to do with wanting to be in an air-conditioned park this time of year, certainly.
Yeah, they're not long from having one, apparently, a couple of years away.
Yeah. No balls, 2 strikes.
But there are a lot of baseball fans right here in the ballpark tonight.
Should be a sellout, we're told, the second of the year. There was one that came within about 500 fans of a sellout with Boston. That's deflected, and that'll be an infield hit. Tough luck for Fister. It was headed out toward Altuve, but Fister got his leg in the way, couldn't make the play, and Andrus is aboard with the infield hit.
A lot of times it pays off to get some part of the body on a ground ball, but not in this case. You could see right toward Altuve would have been an easy play.
Yeah, glove in the way, I should say.
Of course, when you're trying to go at it with your glove, you're counting on catching it.
That brings up Chu. He took the ball to left for a single, leading off the game. Big curve loops in for strike one. Fister's ERA at home is 4.13. He's 3-4 here. Has 14 quality starts to tie Dallas Keuchel for the club lead. The Astros record in his starts is 14-7. It's 1-1. Rangers have had a hold on the Astros since the Astros moved to the American League. The Rangers are 47-21 against Houston. And they are 22-8 against the Astros with the current managers in place, Jeff Bannister and A.J. Hinch. That's close. 2-1.
A couple of guys going to work right here. Chu backs away. Castro tries to pull it back to the plate. Didn't need to. That pitch should be called a strike.
Chu was on the disabled list with lower back inflammation. Was just activated from the DL on Thursday. Upstairs to him. 3-1. He's had an outstanding career on base average. Chu now 34 years old. He's from South Korea. He hit 22 homers, drove in 82 runs last year. That is a strike. What a quality pitch. 3-2. Big call in this inning.
Chu hit a tougher pitch than this for the base hit back in the first inning. So as good as it was, Chu has already shown he can handle that pitch down and away.
Desmond's on deck. 3-2. Runners at first and second will be going. Curveball, ball 4, and the bases are loaded.
Well, that's close. Get that reputation as a guy who draws a lot of walks, and it tends to feed into drawing a lot of walks. Very close.
Ian Desmond comes up. A.J. Hinch hoping Pfister can make his pitches to retire Desmond, who singled to right field on an 0-2 pitch in the first inning. But you have a tendency, if you're calling this game and he's had a hit the opposite way, to try to come inside on him this time?
I would. And a lot of times you hold pitches back until there are big scenarios that are presented. This would be one of those.
Strike to Desmond. He was drafted by Washington in the third round in 2004. This will be the 25th pitch of the inning for Pfister. He gets a foul ball, and it's 0-2. Now he's established inside. That gives him some options on 0-2.
So then you start playing that game. Okay, I've worked him in. Is it time to go away? And the hitter's running all those things through his head. And you always hate when you change what is working right now because you thought it was the right time.
Ground ball weakly ahead. Here's Bregman charging and getting him. 2 in the top of the second. The crowd is loving it. No runs, 2 hits, 3 men left, 1-0 Houston. Bregman double and then 3 walks to push home a run in the first. Jake Marisnick gets it going in the second. Curveball slips out of the hand of Harrell, up and in, ball 1. 227 for Marisnick, 2 homers, 9 runs batted in. 4 for 12 the last 4 games. So he's gotten more playing time. Jake takes a look at it. It's 2-0. Last night he was in left field and he was 1 for 3. Marisnick fouls it back. 2 balls and 1 strike. This Astros team is 10th in runs scored now. People were in line early this afternoon for those jerseys. Out to the first 10,000 fans tonight. Foul ball, and Marisnick is at a 2-2 count now. Astros 5 games above 500 currently. They'll leave after tomorrow's game and go to Minnesota for 4 and Toronto for 3. 3-2. The curveball's not working for Harrell in the early stages of this game. In Lucas's career, he's 21-35 with a 4.74 ERA. That's lined out to center field and in for a hit in front of Desmond. Marisnick takes his hitting streak to 5 games. Julia?
Thanks, Brownie. We're going to take a look at our Chevy Strobe poll real quick. Make sure to head over to the Root Sports Twitter page to vote in the poll. It's all about the 80s today. Which 1986 movie hit best stands the test of time? Top Gun, Back to School, Aliens, or Ferris Bueller's Day Off? Good luck with this one. We'll tell you who wins later on in the broadcast. Maverick?
Ooh, maybe. Yeah, that's good stuff. It's Castro batting now. 6-23 in terms of homers and runs batted in for Jason, and the throw goes over first. Marisnick is a base stealer. He's 6 for 10 this year. Jonathan Lucroy may be tested. Lucroy is one of those catchers who throws well. And another throw goes over. Lucroy has thrown out a major league high 29 runners attempting to steal. He's been successful 37% of the time, 4th highest in the majors.
He's kind of that ideal guy behind the plate. He's durable, swings the bat well, and as you say, plays the defensive side well.
Runner going. Here's his throw. It bounces, and Marisnick has stolen it. That's number 7 of the year. Very aggressive, taking off on the first pitch.
It's part of the game that Jake can bring so well. Jonathan Lucroy, watch how quickly he sets up to get rid of the ball. Perfect work, but the grip of the baseball betrayed him. As we take a look at our Super Mo presented by Mattress Firm. Always grab helmet while grabbing bag.
Pitch was ball 1. There's a strike to even it at 1-1. Well, that can be important. Stealing that base after leading off an inning.
Well, especially when you're struggling offensively to put a lot of runs on the board, it can pay off. You throw one on the board in the first inning, try to do the same for a number of innings.
This ball put in the air and foul. 1-2. Harrell is the type of pitcher who can get double play balls with his sinker. Castro has a 758 OPS against right-handed pitching. Breaking ball struck him out. Number 3 for Harrell. George Springer will follow. Lucroy going out. Did you ever get traded like Lucroy did in the middle of a season, Ash?
Deadline time, no.
So that would be difficult in terms of learning a new pitching staff on the fly.
Yeah, it might be, and sometimes I think that can be overrated. I think you put guys into category, as we talked about. Doug Fister, sinker slider kind of guy, and Lucas Harrell would fit in that same category. You start putting those guys in those slots, and I think you can quickly get accustomed to how they work.
George Springer taps the breaking pitch foul. Strike 1. Springer, with his 60 runs batted in, has the capability to be just an outstanding leadoff RBI man. Brings that power. Takes there, 1-1. Has a 353 on base average too.
Body flying open a little bit early there for George.
Kind of a streaky hitter, isn't he?
Yeah, he is certainly in that category. Guy that can provide the home run power that George brings, I think, makes you a little bit more streaky.
2-1 now.
This is the kind of pitch Lucas Harrell wants, but obviously a bit under the strike zone.
He gets that. 2-2.
And of course, if you're George, you're thinking, well, one was a ball and the next one's a strike, but you see they weren't exactly the same.
Springer takes a close one. That's too close to take. Strike 3 call.
Shaking his head, but I think viewing this over again, he's going to be disappointed that he took these pitches. Well, that's well spotted, and the whole grouping by Harrell right at or below the knees.
Alex Bregman gets a shot at giving the Astros a lift. Leadoff single and a steal by Marisnick. Now a couple of strikeouts after that by Harrell. Bregman trying for his first major league RBI. That's a strike. One and one. Harrell last year pitching for the LG Twins in the Korean baseball organization was 10-11 with a 4.93 ERA. He made 33 appearances, 30 starts in South Korea. 1-2. Harrell signed a minor league contract with Detroit March 1st. And then he was released May 16th. Signed a minor league deal then with Atlanta. 2 balls, 2 strikes. That worked very well. He was 2-2 with Atlanta with a 3.38 ERA. And this is his second start with the Rangers. Bregman works the count full. The Rangers are down a couple of pitchers. Derek Holland is on a rehab assignment now in the minor leagues. Colby Lewis is another starting pitcher who's out with an injury, and he's not expected back until the end of this month. That is strike 3 call, and that is 5 punch-outs through the first 2 innings. Harrell strikes out 3 in the second. 1-0 Astros. Is Mike Scott joining us now in the booth. We took a look back at a portion of his career, 85 through 89 at 2.93 ERA, a Cy Young Award in 86, an All-Star 3 of 5 seasons, and at 86 year, Ash, unbelievable for Scotty. 2.22 ERA, the Cy Young, 300 strikeouts. How did you know that Ash was the catcher for you, Scotty?
I really didn't. That's all I had. I just threw him back there, and they said, you know, he can catch most of the things you throw in there. No, Ash was great. We worked really well together, and it was fun to pitch to him. The other guys were all good too, but we just had something where it was really easy. No shaking off. I knew what I was going to throw before he put the sign down, but he put the sign I was looking for just about every time.
No balls, 2 strikes to Carlos Beltran. You guys just really clicked, and what a fabulous ride that was for you. in '86. Was it that way from the beginning of the season, Scotty, all through?
I don't remember from the beginning. You know, once you get towards the latter part of the season, you know you're on a pretty good roll, and we were right there to, you know, win the division and go to the playoffs. But yeah, I wasn't thinking about it early, but I've been told that we were picked to come in last. I don't remember that, but I don't see how that happened. I don't know who was picking, you know, who to win, but we had a pretty good team. We had guys that played great. We didn't have the, you know, superstars, but we had guys that played great that year.
And you know what? The Astros won 10 of their last 12 that year and played very well down the stretch. It was a team that really picked it up in the second half.
Line to left for a hit for Beltran. Hit number 5 for the Rangers as we look back at some of Mike Scott's career.
Well, I'll tell you what, if you control the high heat by Keith Hernandez, something's working all right.
How about those battles with the Mets in the NLCS with the intensity of those games, Scotty?
And you know what? You think the regular season is intense, but nothing compared to that. It's the only time I did it. We had the 1 year with them, but it was pretty special, pretty intense.
Marisnik waiting in center for the Beltre fly, 1 out. That was just outstanding baseball, wasn't it? I mean, those two teams.
All good games.
Yeah.
They were, and you know, I still feel for Bob Knepper. The 6th game, he pitched the game of his life in a spot he had to, and things kind of fell apart in the 9th inning. It's not that he didn't pitch well, but the balls were dropping and things happened, and the next thing you know, we're playing 16 innings. But I really felt for him. He felt for the team. We wanted to win that game, but Bob pitched an unbelievably good game.
He sure did. He was very animated,
which he never was.
No. There's Altuve with a flip to Correa. That's a double play, and we'll be back with Mike Scott. 1-0 Astros.
Comes from Keith Hernandez talking about Game 4, the performance of Mike Scott. Tonight, Scott's split finger was even better than Suter's. He painted the plate with it. Believe me, he had better stuff than he did in Game 1. I'm curious, Scotty, do you remember Game 1 and your second outing in that series and how your stuff might have compared?
I was probably, you know, I threw 9 innings the first game, so I think my arm was a little tireder in the second game, but, you know, a good movement, and I threw a lot more sinkers than the cut fastball, and had more balls hitting to the ground. But I think I had better stuff the first game, but the second one, you know, got by. Didn't get in too much trouble till the 9th inning.
There's ball 1. Well, for those 2 playoff games, 2-0, a 0.50 ERA, 2 complete games, 1 walk, 19 strikeouts in 18 innings. Dominant. Altuve takes in the dirt. You watch much of Altuve, Scotty?
Yeah, I think he needs to go to another league. This one's too easy for him. He's pretty special.
Let's tell him, Brownie and the fans, I don't remember any player that would compare with Altuve back in our playing days.
You know, the only person I can think of, I thought, how would I get this guy out? But when I was really young, Joe Morgan was still playing, and he was a little guy. And when you're a rookie pitching against a veteran, your strike zone is even smaller. I mean, it's like, come on, kid, you better. And if you lay one into him, he's going to hit a home run.
And for Joe Morgan, that strike zone was small already.
Yeah, I was like, I'm not. It's not going to be a strike unless he swings.
Roger Craig, what did he do for you?
Well, I was at a crossroads, and I was getting a little older, and I was a fastball sinker slider pitcher, and I had to be perfect. And when I wasn't, I got knocked around a little bit, and you get to a point where you better figure something else out. And I tried some change-ups and tried other pitches, but he said, let's go try this pitch. Worked on it in the off season. And the Astros said, come out to spring training and throw it all you want. Don't worry about results. Just let's see if this thing's going to work. And right off the bat, it worked.
So I'm curious, Scotty. There's so much in the game about pitchers and how many innings they're allowed to throw on a given year and how it impacts the arm. You threw 275-plus innings back in your Cy Young season, 1986. How did that impact your arm for the future?
I didn't even think about it. When you're pitching well, you can throw 120, 130 pitches. Usually it doesn't take that many to finish a game, but it doesn't bother you. If you're struggling, I threw 3 innings and threw 60 pitches, and my arm was bad because your mechanics are off. But the game's changed. These guys are strong enough to throw 9 innings, but they're not. That's not what they're called upon to do. They want to, the 6th inning, and then they get the relievers in there. But I guarantee you, Dallas Keuchel can go 9 innings if you let him, but they don't let him.
Oh, we just saw one of the Toronto pitchers, Aaron Sanchez. And he is still in the rotation now, but he's about 130 innings, and they're saying, oh, well, he's never been this high before. Isn't that the competitive dilemma here? Guys don't pitch enough innings in the minor leagues to get you through a pennant race.
They're not ready for it. And I don't know how they made the decision, but I got to know Strasburg a little bit.
Until they tagged out by Odor.
And playing in a golf tournament, but how back, I don't know what year it was, when you have one of the best pitchers in baseball and don't let him pitch in the playoffs, I was like dumbfounded. I don't know who makes that decision.
Yeah, and that all with that thought that, well, we made it here this year, we're young and good, and we're going to be back next year and the years to follow. And we know it doesn't work out that way in the game. Yeah,
it's not automatic. Things just don't automatically happen the next year. I don't know how many years, 12, 13 years, I got in the playoffs 1 year.
Okay, you got there the 1 year, and you threw a no-hitter to clinch things. 10 days left in the season, the Giants in town, and that's one of those days that people ask me about. I know they do you as well. That is kind of surreal. How did it all come together? No-hitter and clinch day all in one day.
I don't know how it came together, but I know we wanted to win that day. We were going to win. We were going to win the division or conference, whatever it was back then. But we were going to win. But we're at home, and then the next day we're going on the road. So I just let's win this game today. And I might have been a little too pumped up because the first pitch I hit the leadoff hitter square in the back, which I don't remember ever doing that. And I said, come on, let's settle down. Let's just 110% doesn't work, 100% works, and just settle down. And it, about 4th or 5th inning, and it was pretty good. The 6th or 7th inning, you came out there and told me, I don't care, you're throwing a no-hitter. Don't be. We're gonna win this pennant, but you better throw a no-hitter.
So it's part of that thing where the catcher never brings up the no-hitter to his pitcher.
No, yeah. No, you did. But it is funny. The guys in the dugout, I didn't really pay attention to it, but I've obviously seen some replays of it, and they're just walking away. Just kind of. Yeah. But Ash, that didn't bother you to come out there and say that.
Hey, did you notice you got a no-hitter, pal?
Did those Ashby pep talks work for you, Scotty?
The quicker he left the mound, the better.
The thing with me though, it wasn't the pep talk. I wasn't going to let him talk his way out of the no-hitter that day. I felt like the stuff was there and it was going to happen. But I'll tell you what comes to me is that final pitch of the game when Will Clark grounds out, and it's the sinker that winds up right through the heart of the plate, and it scares me every time I see it.
Me too. And that was the worst pitch. And at that time, you're going to try to throw the best possible pitch you can, and that was one of the worst ones of the game. And luckily, he grounded it to Glenn. And then I'm pointing to Glenn to go to first. Don't toss this to me because I might drop it. You can do this by yourself.
Scotty, how many mistakes would you say you made in that no-hitter?
You make a bunch. You get guys out with, you throw a great pitch, they can get a hit. You make a mistake, and they pop it out.
That's the real honest answer.
Yeah.
I've heard guys from, he made 2 mistakes the entire game because two guys hit home run. Yeah, you made more than that, but they got the 2 of them.
And see, I think you and I kind of lived in that world. I used to just, I'd laugh at guys who would say, I made 2 mistakes tonight, and meanwhile, I was back there watching 15, 20 pitches down the middle of the plate.
Yeah. How did I catch this one? How did it's not that perfect.
Does it amaze you to watch all these hard-throwing relievers come out of the bullpen?
I'll tell you, it's a different game. They're bigger, stronger. I think their workouts are more refined. But it's like every sport. Everybody's getting better.
What did you see about of course, you played with Nolan. What did you see about his workouts? Because he kind of had his own thing going that might have aided him in his prolonged great career.
I don't think anybody could do what he did, and half the time I didn't really know what he was doing. But whatever he was doing, it worked. Yeah, he had his own program, and he was, he's kind of like the Tiger Woods of doing weights and stuff when we weren't supposed to do weights back then. He figured out what he needed to do, but to throw as hard as he did, as long as he did, and believe me, you didn't want to take him out of a game.
No.
That had to be a battle.
Yeah, you should have been the guy trying to go to the mound when your skip's telling you go out to the mound. Yeah. And he's telling you better get out of here quick.
Tucker takes a look at it, 1-1.
At least you and I could talk about tomorrow's golf round or whatever, but with Nolan, it was a little bit on the challenging side.
Yeah. I remember I kind of got in trouble with Dr. McMullen. I forget what year it was, but Nolan was like 8-16. We could not score a run for him.
Led the league in ERA that year.
And strikeouts. Yeah. And I think they were maybe not going to give him a raise and want to give him a cut. And I said, heck, they ought to give him a raise. The best pitcher in the league last year. Bang, I get a call from Dr. McMullen asking me when I became Nolan's agent. I said, all right, I'm out of it.
Is that right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he wasn't real happy about that.
This goes to show you got to have a little run support, though.
I think at that point, guys were trying so hard. It's like game after 1 run, no runs. And I think we're gripping it just to try to help the guy out.
What would you like to say tonight to get yourself in trouble?
You're trouble-free now, Scotty.
Yeah. It wouldn't be the first time.
What a great time for you guys, though, this weekend, Scotty.
Yeah, it's great to see the guys. I tell you what, they treat me so nicely out here. It's probably better than they should, but I love coming out. The people here are great. Good to see the old teammates.
Yeah, look at the crowd. I mean, this is in good part because of you.
Oh, that's obviously. Right. And free uniforms that'll be washing cars. And
You're giving me more strokes next time we play now. Yeah, there you are. How did that feel coming out of the right arm?
It felt great, but I could have gone anywhere. It could have just as easily gone over his head or bounced halfway there.
Now, I'm sure you practiced with Vicky all week, right?
She did bring a ball out and tell me to play catch with her. And I did bounce it to her, honestly. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Don't embarrass the family.
Actually, I'm impressed. I didn't know your shoulder was back to that point.
Runner going. There's a little tap. Tucker will try to beat it. And he will be safe. And over to third base, Gaddis.
Yeah, one of those tough plays where you don't know if pitcher, first baseman, which one is going to come up with the ball. So as a pitcher, you simply go after it. Do you have any keys on that particular play that told you which angle you were going to take?
Even if the pitcher gets it, that's just in a perfect spot. Because I don't think you can do anything on that one.
A.J. Reed, the batter. He struck out with the bases loaded in the first. Now another opportunity. First and third, 2 outs here in the third. Scotty, after that Cy Young season, how did your arm feel the next spring?
It felt good. It felt great. Yeah. You don't even think about it. You don't. And deep in pitch counts, get the ice the next day, and that's just kind of the routine. And these guys could do that. It's different now.
A lot of it is organization driven, correct? That's the philosophy.
You're losing me, Brownie.
Well, It's not the pitcher trying to say I want a 20-year career so much.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes. Yeah. It's we want you around. I don't know when it changed, but you kind of can see it, and now that's the way it is. Like Dallas Keuchel last night, he's got to finish that game.
Right.
You know, you don't even take a chance. And he had him. He didn't have a lot of pitches. He was comfortable. And his next start, I guarantee he's not going to feel like, oh man, I pitched 9 innings the other day. He'll feel fine.
So if you found yourself back in the game, and you're a pitching coach or a position of decision making for an organization, would you be inclined to say, look, I think we can kind of go back to the past a little bit in terms of more innings for pitchers?
I would, because my philosophy, if the starting pitcher is getting guys out, let's leave him in there till he's not getting guys out. Something's working. Something, you know, he's doing something right here. If the pitcher says, hey, you know, I'm getting tired, okay, you know, I get that. But if he's getting people out, who knows? You may have the best reliever in the game. It may not be his day, but the guy that's in there at the time, hey, he's having a great day. Let's leave him in.
When you were a kid, did you play all the sports?
Yeah.
You advocate that for kids now?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Baseball was probably my least favorite. It really was. I loved playing basketball, loved football. But, oh, yeah, and you see it now. It's like kids are year-round playing baseball or whatever their sport is. And I think I would have gotten burned out. I want to do something different.
Right.
I actually think that the fact that you and I played a lot of golf during our careers was probably good for both
good
of us.
For me and my pocketbook.
Well, yeah, that's true. Yeah. But, you know, that aside, I think it's good for keeping the body loose.
Yeah, I would have gone nuts if I had to play baseball all year long. I look forward to the next season. Look forward to whatever it was, coming up. It's just...
So you're not going to go manage winter ball this year, then?
No, I don't think so.
Jake Marisnick now. The bullpen phone is ringing for the Rangers after the 5th walk for Harrell. Marisnick singled to center in the 2nd inning.
Dimensions here make you want to get out there and pitch again.
Oh, I'll tell you what. One of the most amazing stats was did Keuchel not give up a home run in this ballpark last year?
I believe he didn't lose a game. He went
I think that's right.
16-0, 17-0 counting the postseason, I believe.
Yeah. And not give up a home run here. I think not giving up a home run is even more impressive than not losing the game here. You can flip one to right, a big guy. That's unbelievable.
True.
Yeah, this ballpark, they used to talk about Fenway Park and how it really ultimately might have favored the left-hand hitters. This ballpark's a lot that way and shallower to right field than Boston.
Yeah, you watch these guys. I forget who was pitching the other day, but as soon as the ball left the bat against Toronto, didn't hit that hard, but the pitch just, it's gone. He knows. It's not belted, but there's no way that's staying in the ballpark.
Rip to third. There's Beltre with the force. Scotty, thanks so much for joining us.
Great to see you guys, Brownie.
Great to see you.
All right.
Always the best, Scotty.
Astros.
Yeah.
As we look back a little bit, 1986, best starting rotations in all of baseball at that time, and the Astros were at the top of the list. No surprise with Mike Scott and Nolan Ryan, Bob Knepper, Jim DeShays, Danny Darwin. It was a great list of starters, and you saw the other clubs on there, but yeah, that was a tremendous pitching staff.
Ball 1 to Jonathan Lucroy after the escape act by Lucas Harrell. Twice he's gotten out of bases loaded trouble, and he has stranded 7 runners in this game, so it's only 1-0. Lucroy, who popped to first earlier, takes a strike to make it 1-1. Ball to third. Bregman. 1 out. We had a question, Ash, from Just Goofing Around on Twitter about where we think Bregman will play when Gurriel comes to Houston.
Well, I think you and I have maybe a little inside information, but I think the logical guess right now would be that Gurriel becomes the third baseman and that Bregman uses the athletic ability and moves to left field.
1 out, and here's Moreland now. Moreland hit a fly ball to center.
You concur with that?
Yes, I do. And for strike 1.
And the hope obviously is that Gurriel brings the bat that he's displayed throughout much of his Cuban career.
Yep. Gurriel has not played in a while. That's why it's going to take some time for him to be here, and then he won't be probably an everyday player when he first arrives. And the plan for that is the middle of this month when the Cardinals are here.
You know how Gurriel can take care of that, though, is come in here swinging the bat like a guy who is going to drive in a bunch of runs, and I think he will play a lot more if he can do that.
Moreland puts it in the air. Here's Tucker coming over. Bregman slanting from his position, and it's out of play for them.
But you know, my take on in talking with Scotty, and of course, a great friend for both of us, is that I think there are a lot of pitchers who threw a lot of innings some years back who wonder why it is now that guys are pitching so far less innings and getting hurt at a rate that seems to be maybe higher than ever.
True. Well, if you read that book that's been out for a few months, The Arm, that will provide some answers.
Yeah, you've been a big fan of that book, I know.
I think it's an excellent book, and that's why I asked Scotty if he played the other sports, because so many young pitchers are on select teams and they're piling up innings at an early age.
Yeah, I've mentioned when you brought that up in the past that guys like Joaquin Andujar and many guys who played winter ball after full major league seasons never had a sore arm. I mean, they just seem to go on and on.
True. 2-2 for Pfister, shooting for win number 11 of the season. Out to center field, Marisnik. 2 outs.
Have your special message become a permanent part of Minute Maid Park with the Astros commemorative brick paver program. Get a great gift for the Astros fan in your life by visiting astros.com/bricks.
Keith Young has asked on Twitter about the great memories provided by Mike Scott, Glenn Davis, who was on with us last night, and others. Keith Young says, I love the video, but does anybody have any Gene Elston audio? Yes, you can go to astrosdaily.com for a lot of those Gene Elston play-by-play cuts on radio. Mazzara single to left in tight, ball 1.
Somebody was asking about the basic range of the fastball in terms of velocity of Mike Scott back in his heyday. And it was probably in that 82 to 85 range.
Interesting.
Might have been a little higher at times, but Mike had an ability to utilize movement both directions better than probably anybody in the game at the time.
Well, here's a guy, Doug Pfister, who relies on that as well. 3-0 in this count. 13 of 17 first pitch strikes for Pfister tonight. This time a 4-pitch walk to Mazzara. Second walk for Pfister. Brings up Andrews. Andrews singled off Pfister's glove in the second inning. Rangers got 2 singles in the first, 2 more in the second, and 1 in the third. The Astros have the second best ERA in the American League, 3.77. That was lowered by Dallas Keuchel's complete game shutout, of course, last night. Ripped on a line, foul. Strike 1 to Andrews. Jeb Jr. wants to know any chance of getting Lance Berkman involved with the Astros again. Well, I'm sure the Astros would like that. But
yeah.
Lance is very busy coaching Second Baptist right now.
Did you say Jeb Jr.?
I think so. It's J-E-B-J-R. So what would you say that would be?
I think you nailed it.
Okay. Line drive to right, a hit in front of Springer. Andrews is 2 for 2 in this game. Mazzara advancing to second for Chu.
Bottom 2 guys in the order for the Texas Rangers have reached all 4 of their plate appearances.
That points out what a drawn out lineup they have in terms of good hitters from top to bottom, Ash.
Yeah, I don't think there's any place, and I don't know that major league pitchers relax, so that might not be the right word, but there certainly is no breather point as you go through this Rangers order.
Chu has singled to left and he's walked. Out in front, and that's strike 1. One and one. Desmond's on deck. Rangers as a team are hitting .281 with runners in scoring position. Chu takes ball 2, and it's 2 balls and a strike. Shin-Soo came up with Cleveland in '06. He signed with Seattle in 2000, but then was traded to the Tribe. Then he went along to Cincinnati in another deal before Texas signed him as a free agent after the 2013 season. Grounded and into right field. Here's the go-ahead for the runner to score. Mazzara, throw from Springer, and the tag. Got him! George Springer with the rifle arm picks up assist number 11 of the year, gunning down Mazzara on the tag by Castro.
Now we'll get another peek or 2 at this play at the plate. George comes up firing, throw off line a little bit, but Jason Castro set up in a perfect spot. Question is, does he make contact here? Ooh, that would be an angle that I don't think does anybody any good to overturn the call.
No.
So we've got one good angle. That one's not going to do you any good.
No.
So there's nothing decisive to turn it around right now. So if that's all they've got to deal with in New York, this is going to be out number 3 in the inning.
Jeff Bannister initiating the manager's challenge. We'll give it a shot. But your point is the one that's the most important. The angle does not really give you that view, does it?
Maybe a little folding of the glove that would indicate that contact was made. Eye on the glove. Right here. Does the glove show contact? Yeah, you know what? I think that, oh yeah, that glove clearly shows that contact was made.
Fans seem to think so.
My argument would be, even if it didn't, it doesn't show that contact wasn't made.
Exactly. Yeah.
But once you see that glove kind of fold a little bit, there was contact.
There is Ted Barrett, the crew chief, closer to you, and Alan Porter, the home plate umpire, made the call. George Springer saying, call him out. He got his wish. The out call stands. Springer gets assist number 11, and the Astros remain in the lead. We'll take one more look and a 1-0 game. Game very interesting. After a 1 minute 19-second review, the out call at home plate was upheld on the Springer throw. Great throw by Springer. And now it'll be Jason Castro who made that tag on Mazzara, leading it off. And Castro is strike one. Was a strikeout victim back in the second. Well, we've had a lot of exciting things going on, even though it's a 1-0 game here, Ash.
A lot of base runners and 11 outfield assists now for George Springer. And again, a throw that was a little offline, but he's got a great knack for bringing it to the plate.
Foul back. No balls, 2 strikes. So Harrell getting a chance to stay around after getting out of that bases loaded jam in the third. He did the same thing in the first. Although he has expended some energy, 82 pitches through 3 innings plus. 1-2. Springer on deck. Bregman due up third. The Astros would love to give Doug Fister a little more working room here. 7 hits for the Rangers, 4 for Houston. Topped out to first base. Moreland, 1 out.
The Astros have had a little rainbow jersey magic. Take, for example, 2014, it was May. George Springer in Seattle just launches one the other way and then takes one the customary way to left field. Last year, it was Carlos Correa. George Springer did not play in the Rainbows last year. Carlos Correa had himself a big performance in the Rainbows. So the guys know how to let it fly wearing the uniforms of 1986.
That was a good time in Astros baseball. George Springer struck out twice. Fouls that one. That second half was really dynamic for the Astros in '86. That's the kind of second half the Astros would love to put together this season. Texas did it last year. 1-1. This is game number 110 of the year. So 1/3 of the season is remaining before this game tonight. Ground ball third. Beltre. 2 outs.
Some of the, well, I was going to say some of the luminaries from '86. A couple of luminaries and a bystander there, but Phil Garner. Yeah, Good to see Scraps again today. He looks fantastic. Along with his wife, Carol, Glenn Davis, Ian, and we had him in the booth last night. He led to a 4-run inning, by the way, and so Glenn still got the big bopper approach working. Well, the guy on the left there really played mostly in the second half that year.
What was going on in the first half?
Well, Mark Bailey was the everyday catcher, and it wound up that I got a chance to play in the second half, and things worked out well.
Bregman doubled and scored in the first inning. He struck out looking in the second. Harrell has whiffed 5 and walked 5. 2 balls, 2 strikes. And that has brought him to that high pitch count. He's had not only the 5 walks, but 5 full counts in the game. (3-1). Altuve on deck. Into left center field. Bregman gets his second hit.
Apparently it's time to get your groove on right here. He's hung out a couple of line drives. This was one he just center cut. Watch the barrel drop straight to the baseball. Nice. Got a good pitch to hit again, so he's had a couple of pitches to work with. The key is he hasn't missed them.
Jeff Bannister goes out to the mound, and he is calling in a reliever. Harrell leaving after 3 2/3 innings. Tony Barnett will replace him. He's given up 5 hits. We'll be right back.
Nothing. Houston. Put on your running shoes and join us for the Badges and Bases 5K and 10K run at Minute Maid Park Saturday, September 17th. It includes a kids fun run, and all participants will receive a commemorative t-shirt. For more info, visit astros.com/run. Brownie?
Oh, you should be in that, Julia. We're probably on the road, though, then.
I would. I think we're on the road, though.
Okay, well, you could run your own version of it on the road.
Right, we'll do that.
Tony Barnett, 6-3. He's worked 48 2/3 innings with 13 holds and a 2.03 ERA. Good numbers for this 32-year-old right-hander, Ash.
Yeah, that whip says that he has just about a man an inning on base. That's a good figure. In fact, a very good figure. Texas Rangers bullpen has been kind of all over the place this year.
24 wins, 18 losses, a 4.69 ERA for the Rangers bullpen. Barnett has put together 10 scoreless games in a row, covering 13 2/3 innings. Faces Jose Altuve, who's grounded out and walked. Bregman at first, 2 outs here in the 4th, with the Astros leading 1-0. Barnett misses. There's ball 1 for Tony, who's from Anchorage, Alaska. He went to Arizona State and was drafted by the Arizona Diamondbacks in the 10th round in '06. They released him 4 years later. He went to Japan, where he pitched for the Yakult Club last year. Signed as free agent with the Rangers in December. 2-0.
It's not always an easy, quick path to the bigs, is it?
No.
2006 and is when he was drafted, first started playing, and finally makes it in 16.
The Astros have seen a lot of him. He's made 6 appearances against Houston. Misses there. He pitched a hitless or scoreless inning last night. He gave up a hit to Evan Gattis. Marwin Gonzalez breaking out the shades.
Playing here in the Hollywood Bowl.
Part of the 80s look.
Were those seen in the 80s?
No, not really. Altuve on a foul tip. Goes to 3-1 now in the count.
It's a good time for a green light for Jose. Get that 3-0, see if you get a slotted fastball. Instead, very tough little cut slider.
Not a big lead for Bregman. He draws some attention.
Really, I have a problem with these sets for a lot of the major league pitchers, as you see Barnett bring the glove and right hand back to his right hip and freeze the glove and hand, but the feet keep moving, and right there should be the stop, or that one. I'm not sure which.
Tap to shortstop. Andrus with the toss. Ooh, they made that close, but they got the call on Bregman from 6-4. We go to the 5th inning, 1-0 Astros. On Root Sports is presented by Southwest Airlines. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. And by Academy Sports and Outdoors, donating $100 for each Astros home run and $200 for each Correa home run to Houston Children's Charity. George Springer gunning down a runner at the plate. That would have been the tying run. That's a big play in this game. 1-0 Astros. Ian Desmond gets it going in the 5th. He singled to right in the 1st, grounded out to 3rd in the 2nd when Pfister was coming inside on him more. Taps this one, and here's Bregman. 1 pitch, 1 out in the 5th for Pfister.
Alex Bregman starting to swing a big league bat, making all the plays defensively at 3rd.
An interesting view of a full ballpark. Carlos Beltran singled to left in the 3rd inning. He's 1 for 2. Beltran had about the same offer from the Astros that he took from the Mets when he was a free agent, except for one thing. The Astros would not offer a no trade guarantee, and the Mets would. And that's why he went to New York. Here's ball 1. He liked it in Houston, and he wanted to stay. After that, the Astros changed their club policy, and they did give no trade clauses in the contracts. 2-0 the count.
You know, in life there are exceptions.
That's hit well to the gap in left center field. Beltran cruises in with a 1-out double, his 24th of the year.
Let's take a look now at our Ford spray chart. What do we have? The Texas Rangers and Adrian Beltre against right-hand pitching this year. This is what Adrian Beltre has done with the baseball. Just pretend he's standing on the right-hand side of the plate. And he's a back up the middle into left field kind of guy. Obviously has a great deal of power through his career. Not a whole lot to right field from Beltre this year.
Well, tonight he's flied to left and to center. 345 career hitter against Pfister. Looking at strike one. Beltre just passed Babe Ruth on the all-time hit list. Needs 125 more for 3,000. He's among the runners in scoring position batting average leaders. 1 ball, 1 strike. .345 his average with men in scoring position. And tight. 2-1.
I think when we think of certain teams, we think of a player or two. Adrian Beltre is the guy I think of when I think of the Texas Rangers. He's been the heart and soul for a good while now.
The leader of the team. He fouls that one, and it's 2 balls, 2 strikes to Beltre. Beltre's 37 years old. He should be a Hall of Famer without too much quibbling. More than 1,500 career runs batted in, more than 400 homers. Closing in, as we mentioned, on 3,000 hits. Ground ball third. Bregman checks the runner, throws to first. Reed back to third, and safe. Beltran was able to get over to third on out number 2. Reed has a big-time arm. He was a pitcher at the University of Kentucky. And he made it close.
It's hard to stay loose, I would say, standing over there at first base, taking throws and flipping one toward the mound. Bregman does everything you're supposed to do there, checks the runner, but it's such a long throw that it enables an aggressive runner to go ahead and make that play on. With 2 outs, not nearly as crucial as it is with nobody out or 1 out.
Yeah, Reed was telling me tonight he gunned down a couple guys on plays at third base in the minor leagues this year. Loves to do that. Well played by Bregman. He got back to take that throw after taking care of out number 2. Now he's in at the edge of the grass for Odor. Odor is 0 for 2. He's hit the ball on the ground both times. Odor cranks one foul. He has settled into this number 5 spot in the order. He's hit everywhere but 9th this year. And in fact, he's been the leadoff man more than any other Ranger, 31 times this year. But also has the 55 runs batted in you see there on the screen.
I'll tell you what, you get a second baseman that really plays the game hard as Odor does, hits 21 bombs and drives in runs. You got a guy that you're likely to keep around for a long time.
Yes, sir. 1-1 to Odor, who has established the fact that he can rip the fastball. Pfister didn't get strike 2. He got ball 2, and it's 2-1. Odor, who's from Venezuela, signed with the Rangers the same day they signed Jurickson Profar. In for a strike. 2-2. Great pitch.
And that's that running fastball that Pfister has utilized so well tonight. Castro is actually set up toward the outside edge.
Shaking off the Castro sign. Now time is called by Odor. Odor's hitting .221 with runners in scoring position. Got him on strikes. Clutch pitching for Doug Pfister after the 1-out double. No runs a hit. A runner stranded at third. 1-0 Houston.
At Minute Maid Park, and it's 1-0 Astros over the Rangers. Get a behind-the-scenes look at places like historic Union Station, luxury suites, the Diamond Club, and much more with a tour of Minute Maid Park. For more info, visit astros.com/tours or call 713-259-8996 to schedule your tour today. Astros are going to see Carlos Beltran a few more times this season with him going to the Texas Rangers. Carlos Correa asked about his fellow Puerto Rican. It's a guy that inspired him growing up. He's been watching Beltran play for many, many years. He said he's an icon over there, and it's inspired him to play the game the right way. One of the greatest switch hitters in the game, said Correa. And then he said they've had lunch several times in New York the past couple of years, and he's gotten a lot of advice from him, guys.
Well, he reaches on an erratically bouncing ground ball to Adrian Beltre, who tried to adjust, and then the throw was offline. So Correa, who hit that crazy bouncing ball, is on to lead off the home fifth.
I want to hear the hitting lesson that induces this ground ball. And when it's all said and done, Carlos beats the play. Well, that's digging it right from the beginning.
Hit number 6 for the Astros. Evan Gattis follows. He has one of those hits and also a walk tonight. Tony Barnett in relief of Lucas Harrell looks over at Correa. And it's ball 1. Lucas Harrell in 3 2/3 innings allowed 5 hits, 1 run, walked 5, fanned 5 through 92 pitches, 44 of them strikes. And Barnett came in to get Altuve on a force play. Preston Tucker's on deck now with Gattis batting. 1 ball and 1 strike.
That swing was designed to put a couple of runs on the board.
Well, he's ripped 17 home runs this year. And really got things going in that department last season with 27. Drove in 88 a year ago. You know, we talked earlier about the fact that this is the 2/3 mark of the season, Ash. We remember back to last year and how many things happened those last 2 weeks. Chris Carter just went off. Colby Rasmus hitting home runs.
Yeah, there's no telling. And we made the point yesterday. What was it? When the Astros went into Arlington last year to start a 3-game series with the Texas Rangers, the Astros had an 8-game lead over the Texas Rangers, who eventually won the division. And it turned around because Texas won 3 games in that series and kick-started a strong finish on the year. So, you know, obviously you have that kind of time left.
Yeah, it's not down to an urgent situation like it would be in September for a series between these two clubs.
Look, I think it feels urgent, and I think you should play like it's urgent. But I think you kind of go out there and play urgent every day and let the schedule take care of itself.
These two teams next meet September 2nd, 3rd, and 4th in Arlington, and they're back here the 12th, 13th, and 14th. Gaddis down on strikes. Number 6 of the night. Preston Tucker will follow.
What game number was it when the Astros went in? And I was trying to remember what we had said yesterday. Boy, I want to say there were 53 games remaining in the schedule when that 3-game series started.
They were 60 and 46, so that's 116 games. Or rather 106, 106 games. The math is a little scratchy tonight, as always.
I'm just going to take your word for it.
So we'll make it 56 games left. So just about where they are now. That's out into right center field for Tucker. In for a hit. Here's Correa. Into third base. First and third, and Tucker has a perfect night going. Bases loaded, walk, and 2 singles.
And how does base running sometimes help you win a ball game? And it doesn't show up in the stolen base category. Carlos Correa here reads it well from first base and just takes off to third. Obviously, you hope that sets up a scoring opportunity. But yeah, you need the base hits. But this kind of a read is what you also need in speed, ability to get to third base. That sets up the chance to put at least one more run on the board. That's playing baseball right there.
He is running hard tonight.
Yeah, it certainly is.
Your point, though, really is one that we talk about quite often. That ability to go first to third and be critical. A.J. Reed struck out with the bases loaded in the first. He walked on 4 pitches in the third. 7 hits for Houston, 8 for Texas. We think we can confirm there has been a Bill White sighting behind home plate. We're getting some questions on Twitter. Former Houston mayor. Need a little closer shot. There's ball 1. Two and 0.
Another guy that put up big numbers in the minor leagues and having a real tough time getting on track here, but Astros need a professional at bat.
Odor gets the force, and the relay on a hop is a double play. No runs, 2 hits, a man left after 5, 1-0 Houston. Ahead is presented by Demontron RV. Let us glance ahead at the month of August. Remaining games: 1 with Texas tomorrow, 4 on the road at Minnesota, 3 on the road at Toronto. Back home, 2 with St. Louis, then on the road again at Baltimore, at Pittsburgh, back home for Tampa Bay.
Twins have been playing better.
Yeah, Cleveland knows about that.
Yep.
Chris Davinsky is warming up for the Astros. Keone Kela warming up for the Rangers. Jonathan Lucroy leads it off in the 6th, 0 for 2. And this will tie it at 1. Lucroy, it's his first as a Texas Ranger. He'll make it his second as a Texas Ranger, and it's a 1-1 game.
High sinker got juiced. Lucroy got tied up a little earlier in the ballgame, maybe trying to hit one back out towards center field, but got the head out. Watch this one. Right in that sweet spot to launch. Part of the value of Jonathan Lucroy.
1-1 game. That's hit number 9 for Texas. Moreland is 0 for 2. 2 fly balls to Jake Marisnick in center field. He gets a high curve for ball 1. Rangers have hit 142 home runs. That's 5th in the American League. There's the bullpen action for Houston with Chris Davinsky. 82 pitches for Pfister, and it's fouled away. It's 1-1. All 3 of the Astros RBI teams, senior baseball, junior baseball, and softball, have advanced to the Major League Baseball RBI World Series. It began play yesterday in Cincinnati. Houston has a team in each division, and that's the 8th time for the city to do so. Second most for any city in RBI World Series history. A shot to right field. That hooks. Foul. That is a monster foul ball. Good grief. They don't get many up there.
Well, Doug Pfister is up here in the inning. And he lives up there a little more than you might expect a guy who's being successful and doesn't throw overly hard. But a couple of high sinkers here in the inning have been tattooed.
Chanting from the Astros and Rangers fans in the air, and this one goes to Tucker. One down for Pfister. Mazzara comes up. Mazzara has a single to left and a walk. The Rangers have lost 7 of their last 9 series. They had a losing record in the month of July, and their ERA for July was over 5.5. In a 1-1 game. Mazzara takes ball 1. One and 1. David Oberperler is celebrating his birthday here tonight. It's 2-1. Last year the Rangers won 88 and lost 74, finished 2 games ahead of the Astros. They both went to the playoffs. Texas was 13-6 against Houston last year. Foul ball. It's 2-2. Both these starting pitching staffs have pitched just about the same number of innings for the season. Just a 5-inning differential between the two. 3 balls, 2 strikes.
Omar Mazzara appears to see the baseball very well, not even flinching on that off speed, the breaking ball in the dirt.
He does. He looks very composed. Good idea of the strike zone. Nice swing.
That stance reminds me of Luis Gonzalez.
Oh, yeah, it does. Well, as you pointed out, these number 8 and 9 hitters will stack up with many of the best teams. 13 homers, 43 runs batted in here from this number 8 hitter. Oh, that's a beauty. Strike 3 call. Second strikeout for Fister.
Jack in the Box takes us inside the box score now as we look at since May 1st what these two clubs have done. Texas on the left at 49 and 37. The Astros 50 and 35, a bit better. And you can see the runs per game. Texas has actually been better on the offensive side. Home runs as well, but the pitching for the Astros has turned the tide, and Astros need that tide to continue to swing in their direction.
Andrus is 2 for 2. Looking at strike 1. One ball, one strike. Fister is 6'8". Cranked out to left center field. Here's a long run for Marisnick. That ball's going to travel into his glove. Well done catch by Marisnick right in front of the wall, robbing Andrus. The Lucroy homer ties it 1-1.
Our Toyota time to play, and we're looking at Jake Marisnick, who's been swinging the bat pretty well as of late. He's feeling good. The timing is good, but check out the numbers since July 1st, hitting .333, 11 runs scored, 5 doubles, so getting the extra base hits too. He said his timing was much better, but A.J. Hinch talking about his quality at bat, so good to see that from him, who struggled earlier in the season, was optioned out at one point earlier in the year. But A.J. Hinch loves putting him in this lineup, especially with the defense, and we just got a good glimpse of it right there. But his zone control is better. He's keeping the ball low. We're seeing some line drives from him, so finding a way to get on base, and that is earning him some playing time. I should add, guys, Carlos Gomez, Colby Rasmus, both on the bench tonight. And this has a little bit to do with Jake Marisnick. Neither one of those guys are dealing with injuries. This is all about playing time.
Yeah, there's a fight for that. Thanks, Julia. And the game will be delayed briefly. There's been, unfortunately, an injury to one of the ballpark entertainment young ladies, and she's being helped off the field right now. There's a little collision there with one of the motor vehicles, and hopefully that young lady will be all right. Ranger players rushed over to help out. The Astros had medical personnel on the scene very, very quickly. She looked like she was walking with some assistance there, which is very good news. New pitcher in the game, Keone Kela for the Texas Rangers. Kella has really been helpful for the Rangers this year as he was last year. 68 games. 1-1, a 5.28 ERA, though he's been sidelined by an injury. And his numbers aren't all that great, come to think of it, but he has been out for a while. The whip is great, 0.98, Ash.
Yeah, he's one of those arms the Rangers needed back to fortify their bullpen, which was going through a real rough spell. And so Rangers appear to be in better shape right now.
Marisnik takes, and there's ball one. Jake singled and stole a base in the second inning. He bounced into a force play with the bases loaded in the third. Castro on deck. Springer due up third. That's off the plate. It's 2-0. Tony Barnett went an inning and a third, giving up 2 hits, no runs, had no walks, and struck out a man. Kella was born in Los Angeles, went to Everett Community College. Out to center field, a deep shot. Desmond back. 1 out.
Nonetheless, good swing for Jake. Well, that guy has played some great baseball for the Texas Rangers. Watch the swing. Good extension and just unable to kind of turn this toward left center.
Kella was on the disabled list from April 20th through July 14th with a right elbow impingement. He had surgery to remove a bone spur. April 22nd, faces Jason Castro, who's 0 for 2, but he's pitched 7 scoreless innings in his last 7 games. Check swing roller. Here's Beltre with time now and making the play because Castro didn't realize that ball was fair immediately, so that's out number 2.
Take note of how Adrian Beltre doesn't panic into trying to barehand when it's unnecessary. Well, he is just one of the game's elite third basemen still at this stage of his career. Jason Castro tries to leg it out, but no panic on the part of Adrian Beltre.
In a 1-1 game, it's George Springer. He is 0 for 3 tonight. That drops in for strike 1. Rays lead the Twins 6-1. They're in the bottom of the 8th at Tampa Bay. Now the Twins won 3 out of 4 from Cleveland. That's where the Astros will be Monday night. 1 ball, 1 strike. They have Max Kepler. He has been ripping the baseball. Miguel Sano, a dangerous young hitter, and Joe Mauer is hitting .280 right now. He's put some good games together lately. Dozier, their leadoff man. They have a decent lineup.
Take no team for granted, that is for certain.
Oh no. Foul back by Springer. Lost his balance, and it's 1-2. The Astros 5 runs last night in their 5-0 win over Texas matched their total for the series against Toronto when they lost 3 of 4. They have left 8 men on base tonight. 2-2. They left the bases loaded in the first and again in the third inning. C.J. Hinch hoping for another breakout game offensively, this time in the later innings after they had those opportunities early. Ranger bullpen has a 4.69 ERA. That's a high ERA compared to the Astros 3.08. They've changed some of the people in that bullpen though. 3-2, and getting Kella back should be helpful to them. The Rangers have used more starting pitchers than any other team in the American League, 11. And they've used more players than any other team in the majors, 49. 29 have been pitchers. Foul back.
That's the definition of airing it out.
George does not get cheated, does he?
Not very often.
Pirates lead the Reds 5-3. They're in the bottom of the 7th in Pittsburgh. Giants 4, Nationals nothing. Bottom of the 6th. Matt Cain on the mound. Struck him out. Springer for the 3rd time tonight. A strikeout victim. It's a 1-2-3 6th, and it's 1-1.
Are closer than the left field.
High to right field. Oh my goodness, they win it. Rivalry weekend and a 1-1 game. Chris Davinsky comes in relief of Doug Fister. Fister threw 94 pitches, 61 strikes. In 6 innings, he allowed 9 hits, 1 run, walking 2, fanning 2. Now Davinsky with an 0-2 record, a 2.21 ERA, but as a reliever, a 1.17. Ash
provided some great efforts when he's had to go out there and give you more than 1 or 2 innings. And to me, he's become one of the really valuable guys in the Astros bullpen this year.
Shin-Soo Choo takes ball 1. He's been on all 3 times tonight with 2 singles and a walk. Davinsky's last outing was a jam. 4 1/3 perfect innings of relief Monday against Toronto. 2-0. He struck out a career high 7. In fact, those 7 strikeouts came in a row. Fister threw 20 of 28 first pitch strikes. In for strike 1. Debo very hard working. Doug Fister was telling me that about Chris a few days ago. He really stays after it physically. Keep himself in shape to be stretched out in that bullpen. 2-2.
He's solid 2-1 change right there, or 2-0 rather.
Jeremy Jeffress warming up for Texas.
I'll go back to that 2-1.
3-2 now. Davinsky became only the 3rd pitcher in Astros history to toss 4 1/3 perfect relief innings in a game. Frank DiPino did it. And so did Jim Ray. Leadoff walk. Chew's on for the 4th straight time. That's the essential job of the leadoff man, and he has done it to perfection tonight. Now Desmond. Desmond's 1 for 3. Yeah, DiPino had 5 perfect innings in relief in '83 in Atlanta. Jim Ray had 4 1/3 perfect innings in '68 against Pittsburgh. Beltran on deck. Runner going. Throw from Castro sails into center field. Stolen base, and he'll hold there. Chew gets his 5th steal of the season.
That's just not getting the grip with the right hand there on that exchange, but nice job by Jake Marisnick to hold that to 90 feet. Chew was alert. He knew right away that there was a chance to go to third, but Marisnick took that away.
Now the corner infielders pinch in with a count 1-0. Possibility of a bunt to get Chu to third. Desmond has been slumping. Watching that slide reminded me of Jimmy Williams, the former Astros manager. He advocated exactly that kind of a slide, and the reason was pointed out on the play. Chu slid on his right side. He was looking out toward the center fielder, so he was able to pick up that baseball being fielded by Marisnick, and he knew exactly what was going on.
By the way, there is no excuse for home plate umpires to miss a strike when a guy's running, just because the catcher's on the move. That pitch was a strike and called a ball on Desmond to start things. And
excellent point. 1-1. The Rangers are 1 for 7 with runners in scoring position.
they have 0-2 up on the big board, so disregard previous message if that is the case.
Okay. In the dirt, he's not offering. 1-2. Atlanta leads at St. Louis 7-3. They're in the bottom of the 6th inning. Kansas City is up on Toronto 4-2, bottom of the 7th in KC. Line foul. 9 hits for Texas, 7 for Houston. No errors in the game. The Rangers have stranded 8. The Astros have left 9. They're enjoying that one. Great crowd tonight. Strikeout, and what a big one. The runner does not move from second base. 1 out.
Typically the big pitches from Davinsky, the fastball and the changeup, but he turns to the curveball here to get the punch out.
Carlos Beltran is 2 for 3. A single and a double. He's hit the ball to left and left center all night. In for strike 1. Line over. Correa into left center field, and it's a 2-1 Texas lead. 3rd straight hit for Carlos Beltran. That's his 67th run batted in.
Carlos Correa just carved this into left center field. Shin-Soo Choo getting on base to start at the stolen base, and then this. Right down through the baseball on a pitch out of the strike zone, down and away. That is one tremendous player for a long time.
Hit number 10 gives Texas the lead. Beltre the batter. He's 0 for 3. Taking strike 1. Texas bullpen is busy. Jeremy Jeffress warming up. Fly ball to right, chases Springer over toward the corner. Here's a tag by the runner at first, but he's not going anywhere because George has a gun.
And George was on the money there, being ready to turn and fire back to second. He just sets his body up for this 360.
George has to register that arm every time he comes back to Texas.
Well, he certainly should. I guess that's more like a 90 than a 360.
Yeah.
Get the slide rule out here pretty soon.
Rougned Odor is 0 for 3. Odor looks at ball 1. The Astros have Bregman, Altuve, Correa due up in the bottom of the inning. Marlins 2, Rockies 2 at Colorado, top of the 5th inning. Brewers lead at Arizona 2-0, top of the 4th. Tony Sipp warms up for Houston. In the dirt, 2-0 with Lucroy on deck. Tyler Skaggs pitches later tonight for the Angels in Seattle against Taijuan Walker. Indians down the Yankees at Yankee Stadium 5-2. Corey Kluber winning his 11th, beating CC Sabathia. Andrew Miller got save number 10. Odor fouls it. That makes it 2-1. Two balls and 2 strikes. Rougned has a brother who's also named Rougned. He's in the Texas organization. That's a bit confusing.
I'm going to guess that gets a little confusing at home.
He has an uncle named Rouglas who played in the Cleveland and Milwaukee organizations. Rouglas is currently the hitting coach for the Columbus Clippers. Somebody was having fun in that family when they put those names together.
Have you called Rougned lately? You know, the one that's in the Texas Rangers organization? I think so.
Yeah, which one? Fly ball out to left center field. Well hit. That's in the gap. Beltran is being waved home. Throw from Correa to the plate. And the tag by Castro. Out. What a tremendous throw from Correa. Way out in left center field. Second runner gunned down at the plate by the Astros tonight.
And a second great one of the night for the Astros defensively, as this ball is gapped by Odor into left center field. Jake Marisnick giving chase and gets it into the hands of his cutoff man. A perfect toss that sets up Carlos Correa with his great gun, and there's your out at the plate. And don't forget the Jason Castro portion of this play, but I'll tell you what, when it's all said and done, if you've got a guy that can be part of your relay plays, that has an arm and accuracy like Carlos Correa, you got something big.
Marisnick is credited with an outfield assist there, his third of the year. That is the 34th outfield assist for the Astros, but quite often it's the infielder who makes it an outfield assist.
And that's some of the guys, and Jake Marisnick doesn't fit in this category, guys that don't possess great arms. They just get it to the cutoff man and then let it happen from there. But in this case, I mean, it worked out perfectly as Correa able to make that just immaculate throw to the plate.
Pitcher number 4 is in the game for Jeff Bannister, Jeremy Jeffress. He came in the trade from Milwaukee along with Jonathan Lucroy, his battery mate. He's 2-2, 27 for 28 in saves with a 2.17 ERA. Faces Alex Bregman. He is 2 for 3. Then Altuve, then Correa. We have other changes for the Rangers. There is strike 1 on the slider. Delino DeShields has moved into left field. Nomar Mazara is over in right field now. Shin-Soo Choo coming. Well, he's the DH. Let's see, the right fielder Carlos Beltran has left the game. Had to make that mad dash home. A strike to Bregman makes it 0-2. So Beltran is out. He was thrown out at the plate, but nonetheless 3 for 4 in this game and knocking in the go-ahead run. Jeffress saved 2 games in Milwaukee against the Astros the first week of the season. 1 ball, 1 strike. So including him in the trade along with Lucroy for prospects from Texas may prove to be quite a nice addition for general manager John Daniels. Jeffress, 27 years old, from Virginia. Gets a strike call. Wow. Greater coverage of baseball is brought to you by T-Mobile. Let's go back to the 1950 AL MVP season of 5-6 Phil Rizzuto. The last time a 5-6 player was a league MVP. He hit .324 with a .418 on base percentage for the Yankees. Had 200 hits. Scored 125 runs.
Got on base, scored for the big boys. Played a fine shortstop, I presume.
Yeah.
But I would say what Altuve is doing far exceeds the numbers you saw there.
Altuve's 0 for 2 with a walk. Will Harris and Tony Sipp warming up for Houston. There's strike 1. Carlos Correa is on deck. Jeffress made his Texas debut Thursday. Worked a scoreless inning. Drops a slider in, and it's 0-2.
Filthy slider on the first pitch. This one hung a little bit, but apparently a little bit of a visual difficulty for the hitters.
He was a first-round pick by the Brewers in 06, the 16th player drafted. 1-2. Then he was traded to Kansas City after the 2010 season in the Zach Greinke deal. Another trade sent him on to Toronto, and then he re-signed with Milwaukee as a free agent. And last year had a big year, 5-0 at 2.65 ERA in 72 games as a setup man. Strike 3 call. That's 2 of those in a row, and Altuve is getting pretty fed up with the home plate umpiring. He's right in Alan Porter's face.
A couple of calls in the inning. Jose Altuve has been kind of pushed to his limits here in recent weeks.
Yep. Thrown out of the game by Alan Porter.
You just don't see this from the personality of Altuve, but I do feel like this is kind of an accumulation of frustration for Jose.
Well, you're exactly right. In fact, we were talking day before yesterday, and he said the way things are going, I'm going to get thrown out of a game soon.
And I think Jose has one of the great eyes in the game and realizes that ball's off the outside edge. But it's not just this one at bat or that one pitch. And Alan Porter doesn't know the whole story.
Well, the call on Bregman as well was questionable. That's 9 strikeouts for Ranger pitching. Now Correa comes up. He has a walk and an infield hit tonight. Also, he's lined out to center field. That's the 5th Astros ejection. First for Altuve. And it's ball 1. $42,272, a sellout crowd tonight. Two 2-0 with Evan Gattis on deck.
A lot of fans are waiting for a late inning rally.
Beltre, it's a foul ball.
It was very similar to the previous ground ball hit by Correa that turned into a base hit until the final bounce that kept going toward the foul territory. Maybe foul already before it landed. Yeah, that's right on the chalk.
But then the third base umpire Lance Barksdale ruled.
Yeah,
it was wide of that line.
It's where it is at the bag. I think Adrian Beltre was thinking, wait a minute now, that last time this guy was at the plate, he hit me a weird one.
It's extremely coincidental. Odor over to Moreland. 1-2-3 of the 7th inning. 2-1 Texas. Is presented by the DeMontron Auto Group. Lucas Harrell went 3 2/3, gave up 5 hits and an earned run, but got out of trouble. He left the bases loaded in the 1st and 3rd innings, and that may prove to be the key. The Astros got a good start from Doug Fister. Alex Bregman has had a couple of hits, but now that Jose Altuve has been thrown out of the game, they go with Marwin Gonzalez at second base, and a new pitcher comes in, Tony Sipp. With Marwin at second. Chris Davinsky in 1 inning allowed 2 hits and a run with a walk and 1 strikeout. Sipp's 1-2 with a 4.66.
Some of the numbers that really alarm for Tony Sipp this year: 1.6 is that whip. A lot of guys on base. 11.5 hits per 9 innings, and over 2 home runs per 9 innings allowed by Tony this year.
Strike to Lucroy, who hit a homer in the 6th inning to tie it 1-1. He's 1 for 3. Sip only faced 1 batter Monday night and retired him. Foul ball makes it 0-2. Astros bullpen has the lowest bullpen ERA in the American League, 3.08. Jake Diekman's warming up for the Rangers, a lefty. Foul back. 2 left-handed hitters are scheduled up for the Astros in the bottom of the inning, Tucker and Reed. Dodgers got a big game out of Ross Stripling, a 3-0 shutout win over the Red Sox. Kenley Jansen got his 33rd save. Lucroy reached across the plate, checked his swing. It's 1-2. Been an injury-riddled rotation, as you know, for the Dodgers. Stripling came up with 5 scoreless innings to help them out. Dodgers and Giants are in quite a dogfight in the NL West. Giants led by 2 coming into play today. Lucroy checks his swing. That makes it 2-2. Giants currently up by 1.5.
Dodgers are trying to buck that even season trend for the Giants, aren't they?
They sure are. The Giants, as you know, just got Hunter Pence back a few days ago. They lead 5-0 in Washington, and they're in the 7th inning.
It's a much better Colorado Rocky team than a lot of people thought they'd see this year.
It is. 3 balls, 2 strikes to Lucroy.
Miami could be the most surprising team on the plus side this year in all of baseball, but Colorado would be pretty close behind.
Fouled away. Count remains full with Mitch Moreland on deck and Mazzara due up third. So the selection of the lefty Sip will give the Astros 2 lefty on lefty matchups unless there are replacements made. Michael Feliz is warming up for Houston. Yulieski Gurriel had a single today, played third base, went 1 for 2 for Class A Lancaster in the California League. And the reports about him are good. Out to right field and deep. Springer way back. That ball's over his head. And in fact, now George is indicating maybe a fan might have reached over. But for now, Lucroy is taking the tour. And this is Lucroy's 2nd home run of the night.
I really felt like the acquisition of Jonathan Lucroy was one of the key acquisitions by any club. And then the Rangers double that up and get Carlos Beltran, who has been big again tonight. But Lucroy's a guy that, to me, just helps Texas enormously. Got to work that backhand side.
Yeah. Well, there was no call made of any fan interference, so it's 3-1. Moreland's the batter. That's strike 1 to him.
It's right back to that category I was talking about on Tony Sip. 2.2 home runs allowed per 9 innings this year, and that's a hefty figure.
It's the 9th multi-home run game by a Ranger this year. Lucroy probably has some family here from Louisiana. He went to college there. He pointed up in the stands as he made the victory lap. It's home run number 16 for him. 2 tonight. 1 ball, 1 strike. Carlos Beltran left the game with the quad contusion.
Yeah, he was forced to go home to, or rather first to home on that double by Odor.
Here's Bregman coming over for this foul pop. 1 out. Now Lucroy was hoping to be traded to Texas. He was born in Eustis, Florida, but he went to Louisiana Lafayette. And that is where his home is now, in Louisiana. So no doubt he has some supporters here for this game. Nomar Mazara has been on twice with a single and a walk. He also struck out looking. That's strike 1 for Tony Sipp. The home run Sipp allowed to Lucroy is the 8th he has surrendered in 30 innings. A strike makes it 0-2. We get a report that Giancarlo Stanton of the Marlins hit a baseball 504 feet at Coors Field. Longest home run recorded in the era of StatCast. 1-2. How long is that era, Ash? Do you know?
I don't know. I was just wondering. You mean there was no StatCast when Mickey Mantle or Babe Ruth hit it 600 feet or whatever the figures were?
No. There was a guy with a ruler, though.
Now that would be a challenge.
Might take a while. Fouled away. Didn't somebody hit a home run that landed in a railroad boxcar one time, and they measured it by where the train stopped?
700 miles and yeah. Yeah, I remember those stories. Those were great.
Broken bat liner caught by Sipp. 2 outs.
Make memories at an Astros game every Sunday with family-friendly activities presented by Kroger. The next Family Sunday is, of course, tomorrow afternoon's game against these Rangers. For more information, visit Astros.com/Sundays, or you can call 1-877-9-ASTROS.
A.J. Hinch out to make a move. Tony Sipp leaves after 2/3 of an inning, allowing 1 hit, 1 run. Michael Feliz is on his way in. It's 3-1 Texas. Let's take a look at what it might have been, though. Here's a hit to right field. George Springer firing to the plate. Jason Castro with the tag. The play was reviewed, but the out call stands. And it goes as a Springer assist, his 11th of the year. Now here's Carlos Correa firing to the plate. Gunning down Carlos Beltran on the tag by Jason Castro. 2 Rangers runners out at the plate tonight.
Pretty good arms right there.
You better believe it. 2 tremendous throws in this game. Now Michael Feliz comes in facing Elvis Andrus. At strike 1. Andrus is 2 for 3. Risnick made an excellent catch on him in the 6th inning. 3 runs on 12 hits for the Rangers. 1 run on 7 hits for the Astros. No errors. Each club with 9 left. Cranked on a line to left. Tucker over to play it on a bounce. Andrus gets his 3rd hit.
Got to say, this lineup for the Texas Rangers is pretty well spread out. Michael Feliz on the year. What a great job. Said that of Chris Davinsky as well this year, but 203 opponents batting average against. Tells you how tough he is. That ERA is going to come down and down.
Shin-Soo Choo has been on all 4 times tonight. 2 singles, 2 walks, a steal, a run scored for Choo. Ian Desmond's on deck. Bunting. There is a foul ball. Castro was trying to get to it, get the out at first, but it was called foul by Alan Porter.
Quick as a cat. Jason Castro come firing out of here. Where is that ball when it hits the glove? Deemed to be foul. Doesn't matter if it hit the plate. It doesn't matter if it hit behind the plate. None of that matters. Matters where the ball is when grabbed. And by the way, the plate is in fair territory.
It is?
You know, how many times have you heard that through the years? But it hit the plate.
Yeah.
And I heard that by major league hitters.
Do you think major league players know the rules of the game?
A lot of times, no. They know how to play the game really well, though.
Well, baseball rules can be very difficult.
Well, I'm not looking for a pop quiz, I guarantee you that.
Oh, no. That could be embarrassing for us. Got a question on Twitter. What is the Astros' most productive inning for runs scored? It's the 1st inning.
That kind of makes sense, doesn't it?
Yep. Runner going. Castro does not make a throw. Pitch was ball 2 to Choo, and there's a stolen base for Andrus, his 14th.
A lot of times as a catcher, if you think the pitch should have been called a strike or you're anticipating a strike called, you kind of cease in that endeavor to come firing out and make the throw.
Got it by him for a strikeout to end the top of the 8th inning. Lucroy has hit his 2nd long ball of the night, and Texas leads it 3-1 in the 8th.
presented by authority of Houston Astros, LLC, and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Houston Astros, LLC.
3-1 Texas on top of the Astros, bottom of the 8th inning. Academy Sports and Outdoors and the Houston Astros are hitting home runs for Houston. 1986 home run leaders for the Astros, the Big Bopper. He was the man, Glenn Davis, followed by Kevin Bass and Denny Walling, Jose Cruz at 10. Was not a big home run hitting team, but a lot of great pitching, clutch hitting, and solid defense.
Texas leads 3-1. Pitcher number 5 coming in, Jake Diekman. 80s night. Diekman has been untouchable against the Astros. He's 2-1 with a 2.37 ERA for the season overall, with a whip of 0.89 against Houston. 1-0, 1 save, an ERA of 0, 5 1/3 innings, 7 games.
Yeah, I was going to say, based on what we've seen, I can't imagine a team even putting anything on him.
There's strike 1 to Evan Gattis, who has a walk and a single tonight. Jeremy Jeffers had a 1-2-3 7th with 2 strikeouts. Bullpen has been solid for Texas tonight. Keone Kelly could be a winning pitcher tonight. 1-1. Diekman has not allowed Houston a hit in those 7 relief appearances this year.
If he keeps getting calls like that first slider, trying to backdoor it, getting the strike called, he's going to continue to have success.
2 balls and a strike. Jake was drafted in the 30th round by the Phillies in 07. Hard to believe that, the way he's throwing now.
Isn't it? Yeah, you're talking left-hander. Got that tall, lanky kind of body, very Chris Sale-like, and then the great velocity that he brings with it.
Preston Tucker is on deck. It's 3-1 to Gattis, then A.J. Reed. So 2 left-handed hitters coming up next, leading to the selection of Diekman. But the Astros do have White and Gomez on the bench. They could pinch hit with right-handed hitters.
That's the first pitch in the strike zone, as you can see.
He has been Mr. Clutch against the Astros with a win, a save, and 5 holds in his 7 outings. He has been right there for them. And Gattis swung and missed. The appeal went down to the first base umpire, who called it, Will Little.
Kevin Bass, one of the really good guys and great players. Switch hitter, could swing it with power from either side. Could play the outfield. Talk about great throwing arms from the outfield. Kevin Bass possessed one of those, and one of the guys I really enjoyed playing with, and a great friend. Billy Doran has the assignment of bringing that mail home.
Good to see Kevin here tonight.
Yep.
With the reunion of teammates from that year.
Jose Cruz needed a scorecard, or maybe a program, I guess.
Strike to Preston Tucker.
I guess Father Time will change us a little bit.
Yeah, it can. No balls, 2 strikes. Diekman especially rough on left-handed hitters. The way he steps toward the first base line and throws across his body. Tucker drew a bases loaded walk in the first for the Astros' only run. And has 2 singles tonight. One and 2 for Diekman. Rangers have 37 saves and 48 save opportunities. Sam Dyson is their closer. Strikeout. 2 outs. That's 11 for the Rangers pitchers tonight.
Well, I know they had some struggles with that Rangers bullpen for a good while this year, and it showed up in the 1-loss column, but right now they look healthy and strong.
A.J. Reed is 0 for 2 with a walk. Strike to Reed. Jake Marisnick on deck. 13 hits for the Rangers, 7 for the Astros. Texas will have Desmond, DeShields, and Beltre due up in the 9th. And off the leg of Reed. It's 0-2. It's great to see Bob and Ken Aspromonte today, as well as Solly Hemus. Tim Purpura, Enos Cabell, Larry Durker, all at the Texas Italian American Sports Foundation scholarship lunch in honor of Frankie B. Mandola. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Congratulations to the scholarship winners. And Colin McHugh was nice enough to come over and pose with the kids who won the scholarships.
You guys have a scholarship-worthy meal?
Oh, you like lasagna?
Absolutely. Is that what you guys have?
We had a pound and a half of it.
I hope that wasn't spread around amongst everybody, but
no. Per person, Ash. 2-2. Best wishes go out to Matt Galante tonight. That strike 3 call, and Diekman strikes out the side after 8. It is 3-1 Rangers.
Rangers leading the Astros. We have a winner in our Stro poll. Thanks to all who got on Root Sports SW Twitter and voted. Which 1986 movie hit best stands the test of time? You voted for Ferris Bueller's Day Off. It beat Top Gun?
Oh.
I guess you guys know who I voted for.
Bueller. You voted for Maverick.
For Maverick.
Yeah. Julia, do you know if Jose Altuve had ever been thrown out of a game before tonight? We got that question.
I would have to say no.
I'm guessing no, but we probably will not be able to check on that before this game is over. Inquiring minds want to know. We go to the 9th inning. Ian Desmond is 1 for 4. Rangers lead the Astros 3-1. Michael Feliz on the mound. At strike 1, A.J. Reed just looked disbelieving at strike 3 call on him to end the 8th. Bregman darts to his left. Nice play.
Certainly hasn't been all routine stuff for Bregman. Now, can you translate his tools into left field? I think one of the big things is, will he hit for enough power to be a corner guy in the outfield in the major leagues?
Yeah.
Take his minor league numbers this year. The answer is yes.
Delino DeShields is the batter. He's up for the first time. Taking the slider ball 1. DeShields started last night. He was 0 for 3 in left field. against the lefty Dallas Keuchel. 221, 3 homers, 9 runs batted in for Delino. Two balls, no strikes. Texas has Sam Dyson, the closer, warming up. The Astros have Marisnick, Castro, and Springer due up, last of the 9th. DeShields swings, and it's 2-1. Shields batting in the number 3 spot. He replaced Carlos Beltran, who left with a quad muscle strain. DeShields is at 2-2 in the count. He was the opening day center fielder, but then he was optioned to Round Rock May 13th. Three balls, 2 strikes. Then Nomar Mazara came along, and well, it looks like Mazara's star has certainly risen well beyond DeShields, who played most of the year last year for them. Fastball, 2 outs.
Follow Astros baseball live with MLB.com's at-bat app. Stay up to the moment with Game Day, StatCast, live highlights, and more. Even at the game with Minute Maid's new Wi-Fi. Download the app for your phone or tablet right now.
Well, we're hearing that this was Jose Altuve's first career ejection.
It would have been my guess.
Yep.
He normally doesn't say a word.
Beltre with a 1-hopper backhand. Whoa, Bregman, that is spectacular. It actually wound up being a 2-hopper, but that was a very difficult play. Bregman made it with ease. We go to the bottom of the 9th, 3-1 Texas. Sports is presented by Southwest Airlines. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. By Lexus, the new 2016 Lexus ES and ES Hybrid, it's next level luxury. And by HEB, no store does more than my HEB. The rally is exactly what the Astros are hoping for. They trail 3-1. The Rangers have made a couple of changes here. They brought in pitcher number 6, Sam Dyson, their closer, and also a new left fielder, Ryan Rua. Rua in left, taking over there for Delino DeShields. And Dyson with a 1.14 whip, 23 for 25 in saves.
A lot of clubs trying to find out who that 9th inning guy is going to be. But I'll tell you what, the last 2-3 innings, watching some of the arms for the Texas Rangers coming out of the bullpen, they look strong for the moment.
They do. The Astros have not had a hit since the 5th. And that was off Barnett. Marisnick is 1 for 3. Ball 1. 10 straight Astros have been retired, while the Rangers relief corps Keller, Jeffress, Diekman all with one hitless perfect inning. 1 ball, 1 strike. Keller can be the winning pitcher. Barnett had a couple of men on, but got a double play ball on Reed in the 5th. 2 Jonathan Lucroy homers that pulled Texas into a very favorable position. The first one tied it in the 6th. The second one gave them a 3-1 lead in the 8th. In tight, and it's 2-1 from Dyson. Dyson has saves in each of his last 3 appearances, 3 scoreless innings. He's thrown the ball well against the Astros. 1-0, 3 saves, a 3.18 ERA in 6 games.
A lot of times, Brownie, you have to look back at earlier portions of the ball game to find out maybe what went wrong in a game. The Astros had 9 base runners against Lucas Harrell in the early goings and could only play 1.
Looking back on it, that would seem to be certainly one of the big keys that he was able to escape 2 bases loaded jams. Slowly hit. Here's Beltre coming in. Getting Marisnik 1 out. It's 11 straight Astros retired by the Rangers staff. Castro will be next. Springer's on deck.
A couple of good-looking third basemen playing it down there tonight. I love his ability to throw from down at the side, down submarine a little bit. It enables him to throw on certain plays where other guys have a tougher time.
Castro's 0 for 3. 0-1 to Jason. The Astros were certainly in the doldrums offensively before getting 5 runs last night. They had scored 21 runs in 10 games prior to last night. Line into right field. Castro's 1 for 4, and that gets the potential tying run up in Springer.
Always the big base hit when you can bring that tying man to the plate. Top of the order. Of course, the top of the order is not quite the same as it was at the start of the game.
No. Bregman's on deck, but then Altuve, having been thrown out of the game, has been replaced by Marlon Gonzalez. Springer's 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts. Beats that one into the ground. Here's Beltre going to second, and Odor got the force for out number 2. Springer to first.
Good, hard, but legal slide there by Jason Castro at second.
No, that's right. The base runner can slide hard into the base.
Rangers knew they weren't getting 2 here. Odor might have had some thoughts, but maintaining the bag, going into the bag and maintaining the bag is now the key at second.
Alex Bregman 2 for 4 tonight. Marlon Gonzalez on deck. Springer is not being held on first by Moreland, and he's running, and it's grounded foul.
Yeah, I wonder what's in the head of Alex Bregman right now. And a lot of us, no doubt, are thinking, great time for that first Major League home run. This guy hit a load of home runs in the minor leagues this year.
Springer goes, and there's no play on him. Fielder's indifference. It's 1-1. That takes away the force at second. Bregman hit 20 homers in the minors. Ground ball third, a hit into left field. Springer turns third, comes to the plate. It's a one-run game, 3-2. RBI single, Bregman, third hit of the night, first Major League RBI.
And it brings up the scenario that even though you've got Marwin at the plate, and he's swung it well all year long as you watch Alex Bregman and his third hit on the night, very nice to see. But it's that scenario where you need your big hitter at the plate right now, and you don't have him. Now, hopefully this night takes a load of weight off the shoulders of Alex Bregman.
Marwin Gonzalez comes to the plate for the first time in this game. 253, 10 homers, 28 runs batted in. 251 as a left-handed batter with 6 homers. Ground ball out to Odor, who puts it away. And the Rangers take it 3-2 to square this series and give them a 6.5 game lead on the Astros. Rubber game tomorrow, and what a big one that will be.